Do you get around this music as well? Do you hear it? I was saying before to Nightmare, it sounds like Halo music. Like it sounds like Halo 2, you know, you're the Arbiter.
There's that one that's like, oh, I can't think of the lyrics now because I was just talking about songs before this. But it's the one with like going to the left or whatever it is.
I need help with that.
Yeah, no, I need help in general, to be honest. But yeah, I'll go for
We just want to make the world
It's the one that plays during our break song.
Prize tag. Ain't about the ba-blang, ba-blang.
We're going to get done for. We're going to get done for. We can't.
Sorry, copyright.
Whole stream. Power outage yesterday. Jake takes us down today.
Yo, the Twitch and YouTube stream, we're sorry about that. All right, we'll go into pick ban. I'm pretty sure there's a Kesha song. I don't know, but it just seemed relevant. Maokai, Misfortune, you guys can see pictures. You know what the champions are. It looks like, again, we're just getting rid of these super big powerhouses in the solo lanes, and especially facilitating junglers for G2.
Yeah, I think the lack of a Varus is definitely going to help out KC because it felt like they just didn't really have an answer for Labrov, kind of using that as his pivot point to move out onto the map and just make things very, very difficult for KC. So I think just having some sort of AD carry with push is going to be kind of important for them. Really something that can contest Hansama on the mid wave. And I like that they're getting rid of the Misfortune because that's kind of the other pick that is very strong at the moment of controlling that mid matchup when it gets to that mid game point. Other thing maybe Ashe, but we'll have to see if that's going to be our higher priority here or whether it gets left to the wayside.
As Taliyah is the one thing that was banned last game that KC are just going to snag up immediately. And you're missing some good jungle pairings. Pantheon banned away by KC. So it feels like, again, priority needs to be on something that hits hard, like Naafiri maybe, for Yike this game. Could be a thought.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, Sejuani is available, but I don't think you want to go for like the melee mid to try and enable the Sejuani as much. So, a Maokai gone. Yeah, I think it's... Maybe you are just looking for something a little bit funky. Maybe like something like the... I mean, yeah, like Wukong is still unavailable, but... Yeah, I think you just take the AD carry here if, like an Ezreal or something, if you really want to here for Hansama.
Hansama's Ezreal has been a cornerstone of his career, but also Hansama feels like probably the most consistent one of G2 throughout this split. One of the best building blocks, you could say. Yeah. So let's just hold and find out if that AD carry is going to be locked in or if they get Labrov early. Caitlyn? Oh, okay. Instead of the Ezreal, nah, screw that. They're going for the lane down there.
Yeah, we really want to try and get that push. And again, this is kind of what we're talking about, is having control over that push is just hyper important for AD carries at the moment. So not fully surprised to see it. Now, do you just respond with the Ashe pick, though? Because Ashe has kind of been the old school counter to the Caitlyn, where you end up matching the range and you can then use the W to outrange and outpush the Caitlyn in the lane. But I'll have to say that's going to be answers. There's your doggo for you, Hysterics.
I do like dogs, but I think dogs like AP solo laners. Gwen's also something that's been mega, but we're going to ignore that. The Ezreal gets picked up anyway, adds a bit of range into this lane. Now, Dagda, the only question for you is, like, do we just lock in a jungle here to match? Do we get early support for the 2v2? That is such an important lane. Do you not care? I mean, I have a lot of questions for G2.
Yeah, I think... Well, the problem that I see here for the Naafiri is, like, you have a losing mid push and you have the losing Ezreal push as well. And the Braum... Okay, so I do like this as basically a preemptive here.
Yep.
Because essentially you need some sort of engage tool coming through for KC here.
True.
Has to be coming from the support role because you know that you kind of want to be a bit more flexible from Canna, and unless you just want to slam, even well, Sion is engaged isn't great, maybe you're going for an Ornn or something to the top side, it's not ideal. So preemptively taking the Braum here, saying, okay, cool, we are fine, we're just having the Braum to deny you that engage on your bottom side of the map. We also have a ton of range already in our team, so when we get to these fights, we already outrange you. So we can kind of go for a soft engage and even look towards, I'm going to say engage from our junglers. Now, Wukong taken away, maybe look towards a Sejuani takeaway as well, but even something like an Ivern can still provide that kind of non-committal engage that could work for them. Or, in this situation, even just taking the Ornn in the top side for a Broken Blade is actually fine, because you have the Braum, which takes away the answer for even an Ornn on that side.
True, actually. Very good point. I'll stiff my head through that. This Karma gets taken for a pairing for bot. But as you said, the power that Taliyah normally has is with like a Xin Zhao or a Pantheon, you have lockdown, immediate W, it's always going to connect. You have guaranteed flick back for Taliyah. This with the pairing is going to be very different. As we know, Naafiri has damage, but she doesn't really have the lockdown. So Warwick's taken away for a Broken Blade. I guess I see the angle there as we're going to see. Again, you mentioned Ornn. That could be part of the engage tool.
Yeah, it does. The Warwick ban means it's probably going to be an Ambessa pick for Canna, is what he's at least eyeing up and saying, I want to try and get that as a pseudo engage tool, and then we'll have to see what the bot lane is going to be as well. But at least you're providing good DPS from the top side and some sort of engage. But maybe the Ornn is just comfortable enough to try and survive that matchup as Lillia. Okay, not what I expected. I thought you'd have some sort of well, I suppose Lillia can be pseudo-engage, but something a bit more on the engage side coming through from the jungle. But this says to me they're probably just looking at an engaged top laner for Broken Blade.
Yeah. Things like Sion have been popular recently as well. Let's just see what the final pick is, because for KC, while they sit on this Draven, an ode to both AD carries to just think about what's coming next. I want to see how they ramp this up. They need engage, as you were saying, in support.
So it's going to be the Alistar. Now, I think it's the Ambessa just because of the Warwick ban, but we'll have to see if that is going to be the case, as maybe not. Just go for the Gwen instead. Okay.
Ornn would be a massacre, though. I mean, also, running Gwen into Ornn. Why did the Gwen person go to Paris? Stop screaming! We see her all the time. How did she get there? She flew. She flew. She got a plane. She flew.
We're on the constant. You can train, you can drive.
Okay, she drove, whatever. We get it every game. Why did the screen... Okay, what's it going to be? The Shen?
Oh.
Wait, there's someone screaming for Shen as well. And with Lillia, you do have some kind of submarine, but it's just visible.
So, this is a bit of a weird... so on G2 side, you don't really have the engage, because you're kind of relying on Braum kind of engaging, or Lillia getting some sort of bowling ball into sleep, or Shen with a taunt flash. So your setup isn't ideal, but you do just outrange on the opposite side. And as long as you're able to keep Alistar out at arm's length, there's not really great engage on KC's side either. So in this kind of position, I think you're relatively okay as G2 to just abuse the range advantage that you have. And you don't really have a huge amount of pushing mid or pushing bot side as KC to try and snowball the game into that lead position where you can try and hide in bushes or look for picks. So I like what G2 are bringing to the table. I think a huge amount of this matchup is going to now depend on Canna to just try and get some massive lead in the top side and be that nuisance to try and draw G2 into a position that is unfavorable. But at least with Shen having the Spirit's Refuge, it makes it very difficult to get value out of your auto attacks with Gwen, which is where a lot of that comes from. So I think overall it's kind of just a good read from G2 on the draft again.
I think you're right, because I look at Casey's comp in isolation. I'm like, oh, this is nice, well-rounded. Okay, there's only one engage tool, but there's good flick back. Again, there's decent scaling, but you're right. Because of the range of G2, now I'm thinking, hang on a minute, you got to run into that comp. We can talk more about it as we get into game, because, ladies and gentlemen, KC G2 hopefully hasn't hit its peak just yet. G2 on match point, ready to move to 6-3. They're already locked into the top 4, and I believe Dagda getting into this one. G2 are on their revenge arc from Winter, and I know they feel it. I know they've got to feel it here after Winter was a disappointment with KC 3-0ing their ass in very successful fashion.
Maybe we've just been looking at G2 all wrong. Maybe they're actually that mobile ad that you keep seeing where they were at the very top and then they got knocked down and they had to start at level 1, and then they picked up the sword that put them to level 6 by beating certain people. And now if they beat KC, they absorb their power and just become all dominant with the really weird
right, okay.
Maybe that's what happens, you know?
Now, for those wondering, I mean, G2 do have a head-to-head against Heretics and Movistar Koi, the same. So success in this split, really defining on this game. Now, we're talking a lot about it in the last game. I'm kind of excited by drafters. Hang on.
Laden Bates?
Do not walk into the bush. Ale. SkewMond. Bring out the flute. Yike's going to see it. Oh, it's a pincer. G2 are walking into a trap. It's a trap. Get the fish head out. Huntama bopped around up against the wall, but he's healed up Targamas. Maybe that bop wasn't very good, actually. SkewMond is starting on the red buff, but he just wants to move his speed from passive. As Labrov has flash, gets out, but a low health bot lane with start still from KC.
Good collapse from KC. So high-putting Hansama ends up popping the ghost, so he's able to run away very, very quickly. But the fact that essentially what G2 were trying to do was invade on bot side to split the map to guarantee push for Hansama and Labrov so they can play hyper-aggressive, knowing that Yike was going to be on the top side of the map. Now, though, they're down summoner spells, down a flash. And Yike could be bloody anywhere.
True.
So for G2, this is backfired quite a bit. Although at least Hansama already getting some good damage on Caliste. But I want to keep my eyes on what Yike does. Does he try to punish Labrov on this bottom side of the map as this wave pushes in?
But look at where SkewMond is. If he does, I mean, Hansama will have no support. So SkewMond pathing upwards now. He'll be on a ward around Raptor Camp. You can see that KC, if you guys really squint hard, have dropped a ward around the Razorbeaks, which now expires, knowing that, again, this jungler's starting bot.
But Yike also went around that ward that was in his bush by Raptors, so walked the entire way around. Now, you can kind of infer information, basically saying, look, he went from Raptors down to his bot side, so we know he has to be on the bottom side, but with that ward there, you're like, okay, there's no world that, in theory, Yike should still be in the bottom lane, so... But still, it's done the job of just getting Hansama in range.
He took a tower shot. It's a solo kill. While I'm playing with circles, Broken Blade's playing with swords.
The taunt underneath the tower. Canna not respecting it. He was just barely on range, and this should not happen. There's no world where Shen should be getting solo kills.
Maybe Kanna's too young to understand. Shen's too old of a champion, Dagda, and the amount of mistakes I've seen in any competitive game with Shen. Sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it's brutal. But the kill going to Broken Blade is first blood on the board.
Man, Ionian map, Ionian champions are broken. I don't know what's happening, but still, really, really great job by Broken Blade. And it does set things up nicely where you can try and get accelerated towards, like, well, I thought he'd go for the early no magic mantle to try and help out, but Ruby Crystal going to do a very similar job of just helping him stay alive in this matchup and make things difficult for Canna.
Well, 2 forwards placed. Note that Yike has just dropped another ward around Razorbeak. SkewMond going to invade, probably do the same thing. It's a shove. Cap's in trouble here. Yike has found him. Good sidestep. Gravity field down as well. Yike can't jump on him. Really well played from Caps, because Vladi wanted that burst with Yike by his side.
Second time we've seen this kind of gank timer from Yike towards mid lane, but Caps is prepared for it, same as SkewMond.
Got him. Enhanced Q going to come through as well. The field is down, but Broken Blade is actually getting traded back well this time by Canna. Some snips out as another grass stack rather wanted. Q comes through Canna, but Broken Blade can't get in range.
No, you just got to take it easy. So the you do get a lot of max HP damage, but whenever off of your Q as the Shen, but whenever you miss your taunt, the trade back from Canna can be so bad because the taunt reduces obviously a lot of the damage, or at least gives you damage reduction for a certain period, so it makes things a little bit easier on the trade, but missing it, you can see how effectively Canna can come back, but Canna is starting to run a little bit out of mana, whereas Broken Blade on an energy champion, making things a little bit easier.
Just do this, and he gets the magic damage, weaving it through a champion as well. Canna, he can't walk up to the key assault or whatever it's called, you know. I've got Shadow Dash, I've got Stand United.
Spirit's Refuge?
Is that the Q?
That's the, Q is Key Strike, I think.
Key Strike, yeah. Let's just call it.
Is it?
I believe you. You know, the problem is, I looked the other day, but it's something as a caster that sometimes you're just like, you know, I'm just going to call it Key Assault. And that will do it for me. Good shove here from Vladi. What is it?
It's Key Barriers, the passive. It's
Twilight Assault.
Yeah.
Because I know Shadow Dash. Spirit's Refuge is W, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Stand United is SkewMond. I believe gets a smite there. No, thumbs are up from Yike. We were very busy looking at champion abilities there, but Yike does have a small lead, which, again, is pushing him ahead in the XP bar.
Yeah, I think at this stage,
Everybody.
Go again?
Oh, the wall's out. Caps popped on the right side of it, but no, he's stunned up. W hits, gravity field down again. Yike just can't jump in. And as well, with the ulti popped out, Broken Blade's now here. The damage onto Yike is just flat HP and outrageous. Cap survives again, but Broken Blade now without an ulti for about 3 minutes.
I think Yike kind of got lucky that the laser from Caps went towards Vladi, because with the ultimate from Caps and that laser, I think that was a dead puppy. So very, very close to going down. And good response from Broken Blade. As you say, again, Caps the focus from KC, but it's netting nothing.
Caps just having a much better day, but in this game, it does feel like his team is helping him get through the worst parts of it. I thought before Dagda, the French crowd was singing, "Shots, shots, shots, everybody!" Now we're back to this one. It has been nice, you know, hearing the crowd out a bit. I don't know what they're shouting, guys. I don't speak French. I didn't speak Spanish as well. I'll be honest, I barely speak any German. So if we had a German crowd, I'd be saying the same thing.
And depending on her accent, people say we don't speak English.
Yeah, that's right. We've got no languages. How do you want to understand this? Now, a quick revisit while we're getting massive Caliste jumping in. It's because Targamas is here. Hansama willing to get the damage down and does so politely as he's also got lethal tempo up and available. I was going to say, Dagda, the way this game started, Hansama and Labrov are still in a decent spot in this bottom lane. As you'd expect, I guess, from Caitlyn.
Well, it's... At least, yeah, they are still in a decent spot. Like, the CS is even, but it's the fact that you haven't gotten the advantage that you really wanted. Because realistically, Braum shuts down everything that Alistar wants to do. Alistar goes in, you throw up the Unbreakable, no real trade comes back, right? And it's the kind of early levels where you can start to get that push and really start to cement a CS lead, but the CS lead hasn't really been there. They haven't managed to crack any of the turret platings either. So the fact you're kind of okay in surviving as Caliste in this matchup is fine, because eventually this Caitlyn is going to hit that mid-game drop where she just isn't as valuable as this Ezreal, who's going to spike off of that 1.5 to 2 items. So I think that's where KC Elite can try and come alive, but we'll have to see as it starts to go on, because at the moment, a lot of trading back and forth, but nothing really solidifying itself as a major lead. Sure, you got the kill in that top side for Broken Blade, but you can see off the CS, off that TP down, it's not exactly netting a huge amount. And now, with Rift, Void Grubs up and available, KC in a position to try and contest from that, as kind of TP's back into top.
I don't know if Yike stole it again, but he's just in the way, always around those Raptors, those constant wards. As with that as well, his movement leads him right to Grubs, teleport up, Canna now in position 2, and because Broken Blade's backing, even with ulti, even with teleport, G2 are at least going to lose 1, but let's see. They want to contest Dagda, and I'm wondering, can they do this?
Caliste's boss. It's 5 G2 members up here.
I guess so. Targamas puts up the wall, though. Labrov sits in nicely, and only the Cal sits with fences. He flashes away. Now, 2 Grubs. That's an option for G2, but KC aren't giving this up yet. Yike wants to contest. And just walk away. So G2 with 2 Grubs. Nice contest as shove goes well, but the Caps are still fine.
Yeah, as soon as they see Hansama has teetered up to top lane, they're just like, nope, we want nothing to do with this. Leave Caliste out on the bottom side. He'd be able to get some damage on towards the bottom side. At least you steal away 1, but it's not the end of the world. True. Flash on Targamas is a little annoying, especially as you do have that dragon in 2 minutes, and if KC want to commit to that, having Flash on Targamas is pretty crucial for that engage that we were talking about. So I think a lot of this game is going to be us keeping track on Targamas' Flash for key objectives.
Well, you know what I'm going to be keeping an eye on? That 3-minute Shen ult. Because every time that's down, it does feel like, again, there's a huge window. One of the longest cooldowns in the game. I think Yorick's Maiden is also one of them. Divine Judgment, fun fact, Kale level 1, like level 6. That's also mega long. Fun fact also, there's a place in Australia called Megalong Valley.
No way.
There is. It's crazy. It's called Megalong Valley. And people just call it like Megalong. And I'm like, yo, you guys realize that someone just went mega and long. And it's a big valley. So someone obviously very funny.
Yeah.
Just in like the 1700s, someone thought they were really funny. Now, I bring this up because this early game is a little bit slow. And I don't like slow things, which is why I've never liked my own brain. But, you know, you kind of get used to it after the years.
I don't think anyone has ever listened to you speak and thought that this man's brain goes slow.
Well, I mean, it's not going that fast right now. We could go faster. I'll tell you what, Eminem had a fast brain, or still does, actually. Broken Blade, shift away. Shadow Dash, nice, but only under turret. For now, everything's neutralized. Top lane has become top lane, and we're just waiting for the next dragon. 45 seconds to go as Caliste is just running into Hansama, feeling very confident. As you said, no lane that Hansama really walks away with a big game this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just, again, the fact that Caitlyn can contest mid-wave is why she still has a use. Right. It's more at fights where she's just not going to be able to DPS as heavily. Caliste is still a ways off of getting that Triforce completed, so you still have a little bit of time. But the fact he's got this 400 lead off of some of the turret plates that he's been able to pick up has been nice. But I still think it's kind of just waiting to blow open with 10 seconds until Dragon, though. It looks like KC just going to forego that and try and make sure they kind of can push in this top side as the rest of G2 move over towards the Dragon.
Shen is very hard to dive, but the good thing about Naafiri, she has a no-go button as Vladi gets some damage down on caps, but it means nothing. Dragon's going to go down. G2 going to make it 2. Targamas spots this out. Yike is running down, but again, this will just be taken. Targamas going to pop his head in and say hello. And with second Dragon, G2 now have another condition as Yike spotted out. Labrov gets in the way, and Krug's just going to be taken.
Yeah, Labrov more up here just to make sure there's no dive that could potentially go into Broken Blade, because you could have had Caliste and Targamas move into this top side, but still, Broken Blade on reset means Canna at least will get some turret plates and start to open up that lead. You can see there, 550 gold now, just as he gets off the back of it, but I still don't think he's kind of big enough to really be a threat. Sorry, he's in a decent spot, but I don't think it's like going to be game-breaking for him in the position that he's in, that G2 can't just continue to play with the range advantage that they have.
It's definitely doing that for now, though. I think it's going to end in a minute and a half, and everyone, as you're chilling out, just remember, I've got stories. And one of them is the Hysterics of G2 and KC. Now, it hasn't been a long history. You wouldn't say it's been mega long, but it's definitely been there as the past couple of years. KC came in last year.
Well, the thing is, it's the story of when these wins went towards G2, because when you look at last year, it was dominated by G2.
Yep.
But then when you look at it coming into 2025, you know, first time they met in winter belonged to KC. Then the first round of playoffs that they faced off against each other, G2 win, but hang on.
And Vladi creates his own story, though. Chaos Storm down. Caps might be out, though, because KC have brought up the cavalry and Ignite down. He's getting a stand united, though. In comes the Shen. The global submarine peeks its head. A shove back, but SkewMond's here, putting everyone to bed. Great ulti from Labrov, as well as it's a double. Now, KC are in trouble. G2 have come alive, and that pick, that setup was absolutely brilliant.
The young lads at KC haven't played against the Shen, and you can kind of see it. The fact that you end up constantly going for these plays, having that stand united on that timer sets up perfectly. Yike going invulnerable to deny the taunt from Broken Blade, with the Spirit's Refuge coming in to deny it back. But again, like, you're going for plays consistently away or in positions where Shen can follow, but now Caliste.
Oh, he almost getting swell seated. SkewMond doesn't have flash available, but Blue Smite comes in. Caitlyn ulti, ace in the hole, and Caliste running out only just. Canna's now here. SkewMond caught out his flash again. Burnt before. Good knockup from Targamas. Pulverized into the wall and snipped down by the Seamstress. Caliste picks up the kill while Canna is getting free hit by Hansama, who's stacked up lethal tempo. Caliste jumps in! What balls on this kid! Onto Labrov, the ulti block, but there's the Weaver's Wall. Vladi will seal the deal surely. Labrov has flushed away. Caliste somehow, some way, that 18-year-old came to play.
Caliste styling on Hansama. I just thought the play was done. I was like, okay, KC gonna back away. Canna's come in, ruined all the fun. And then Caliste just pops off, and with Rift Herald up and available as well, I think KC should be in a position to go for this. Caliste just opens on mid first, right? So that play, huge turn for KC.
2 kills now, 1,700 gold lead. Dagda, we're going to run through this again because SkewMond tries to set up for the kill on this guy.
Yeah, and you can see here, it's the fact that Canna comes out of the bush means that SkewMond has to run away. Targamas then, flash, ult, are getting that pulverized combo onto SkewMond. And here I was like, okay, it's completely over. But Caliste going for it. So the fact that he ends up landing the Essence Flux, then he gets the E forward, you get the automatic refund off of that, the E shift forward,
yeah.
And then you're able to flash away from Hansama to get the Q. Really well played by Caliste.
Insane. Labrov only survives because he has to flash out from Vladi with the Weaver's Wall at the end, and because Caliste couldn't get his ulti damage through that shield. But Caliste is now the carrying force, and I feel like this split, we haven't talked about Caliste as much because, again, there have been more inconsistencies with bot. We have, again, focused on Canna, on Yike, on Vladi a lot, considering I think the meta also helps us with that. But Caliste, it's a game to talk about him again, as he is the full gold lead of KC running into this game too.
And this is what we were talking about for KC, is that it kind of felt like it was this 2-item for Caliste, where he could come alive, where he could actually end up winning out of the matchup. And it's given a little bit of hope for KC, because the fact that that mid lane turret's down now gives them the control they need to get vision into G2 side of the jungle. And now they can look for picks. Now they can fight G2 as they start to contest things like the Mountain Dragon in 30 seconds. Now, not a lot of vision down at the moment, which is a little bit of a knock against KC. I think they do need to kind of fish for plays as G2 are trying to get into River. Because if G2 were just able to use the range of caps, the poke from Hansama, set up a line of traps, that's where it's going to get difficult for them.
That time's going to push out. Dragon in 10 seconds. Caliste now returns, almost tier, moving into a Manamune in hand. He's level 11, so he's got level 2 of that ulti as G2 are moving up top, Daggy.
So G2 just saying, look, we don't really want to try and face check into the KC. This is how KC are at their strongest, so let's instead go for take jungle camps on top side, let's take the top turret, and just let KC have control of the bottom side. It does leave Broken Blade very vulnerable, though, as he tries to deal with the Rift Herald.
Canna's going to ulti straight away, though. The Herald gets the charge, a turret dead, he shadow dashes over the wall, but KC have brought everyone yet again. He's not going to be able to escape this. Yes, he gets the Herald, but Canna with his first kill of this game, and with the Dragon stacking denied, KC are showing a light in this series for the first time.
A bit of a mistake from Broken Blade. KC were going for that bot side play. We just talked about the trade that G2 were trying to do, but giving the kill, Dragon, and now matching towers gives KC a nice little swing in the gold. Looking at the tier 2 now as Caps is still on the top side, but I think this might be a bit of an overextension if they go for it.
Wave is gone, half HP on the inner turret. Caliste's got mid though, look at this, inside track with the Weaver's Wall as well. Nicely done, the wall doesn't go completely because Labrov has the shield out as Caliste will still have this with an Essence Flux. Inner turret mid. This kid is going to carry.
I think it's just well played by KC. Broken Blade overstays, they punish the mistake, now they're taking over on that bottom side, and you can start to rinse and repeat this, move around for the top side turret, get that gold, and now the tier 2 and mid being down just again opens up like so much more control on the map. So wait a second,
SkewMond, yeah, he was going for Scuttle, but he's found out by Yike. Jungle's in the 1v1, ulti push out, but Broken Blade is there. Flush away from Yike. He's too doggy. He just really wanted to go in, but Yike now has no flash.
Was a little nervous about Broken Blade immediately getting the taunt and the turnaround, but Broken Blade on this top side. Sorry, I was watching Targamas and wasn't sure how crazy they wanted to go here, but looks like they're just going to try and push him back.
We saw Needlework come out. This is in the picture-in-picture. I think this is happening live, actually. Yep. Caps gets poked out. His flash maintained, but Needlework used by Canna, while again KC want this low health top turret. They're just not going to find it yet.
Yeah, they're kind of just missing the timing windows here. It's going to be after you get this push from Ezreal in the mid wave that you can actually look for this play on top off of this wave that Vladi is just escorting in here now. So that's why Broken Blade trying to play up to keep it at bay, but Targamas catches him.
He does find him, shoved back. It turns from laughing into some serious play that Broken Blade can't escape from. He's flashing away, he's ignited still. The poke is trying to weave. Targamas still going for the dive. Turret's helping out now a bit though. Targamas shielded up with Caliste here too. It's a kill. Nothing happens on the other side of the map. Caliste gets his third kill, and resilience is rewarded from KC.
Patience from KC rewarded. You end up seeing Caliste stay on that mid wave as Han Sama move top to try and answer for the play. KC don't go for the dive initially, and that opens up Caliste to push in mid wave, and then he can transition to the top side. So there's always that numbers advantage for KC, and G2 forced to give towers. Broken Blade falling once more. KC controlling this game well off of that mid lane.
And snowball has begun. The crowd's gotten louder. 3.5K, 20 minutes. Dragon's up in 220. Atakan sits. That's a good boy. Again, don't know what Atakan is, but just this demon thing.
The demon soul of Sal, or whatever his name is. The guy from the Demon Hand.
Salazar from Resident Evil.
Yes.
Oh my god. It's the thing in the sewers. I know what Atakan is now. It's Labrov face checking Targamas. Hang on, a Weaver's Wall comes in. With Discovery brings life, but with now knowing that Atakan is Salazar's right-hand man, you know, that thing that goes under the sewers and you have to fight it 1v1. No wonder it's so strong. KC know that they want it. As another pick comes through, good shove out. Targamas sets it up. Caliste sends his ulti, but it's blocked by Labrov. Targamas sat on a trap. Break your mama's back. But he got hit by a Caitlyn auto. But are they really going to start this up? Targamas still so low.
Targamas is very low, has the Unbreakable Will, but needs to get a good engage off if they want to try and set up. KC trying to play in these choke points as G2 contest.
Ulti out, Canna wants to find Labrov, so there's no engage. Targamas getting poked out. The meanwhile, both supports in danger zone. Hans Summer got run up to. Caliste found the needlework. KC healthy enough with these three core, but Atakan is going to reset. Caps now on an angle as Caliste is a new target. He arcane shifts over the wall. Broken Blade doesn't have his ulti. There's no defensive shield. KC going to try this one more time, but there's an engage. Ace in the hole. Vladi blocked. It goes to Caliste. He arcane shifts forward again, but poked out by Caps. Surely there's not going to be a third time.
But there you can see G2 using their range. KC can't go for the engage because Targamas was so low he had to reset, so you're just trying to poke back, but with the shields that are coming through, the heals that are coming, or sorry, the shields and the Unbreakable from Labrov, just being the shield being able to pop up and take some damage. Even Broken Blade having the shields where he can kind of tank up a huge amount. It makes it very, very difficult for KC to really win out in that game of attrition.
Even though the gold is still swinging in KC's favor, you're right, the range is just getting more and more obvious, isn't it? Hunt some of the more items too, the harder it will be. If Caliste arcane shift forward like that, he can get punished, Dagda, if he doesn't find his target. KC moving back into position, third time's the charm. They're going to start this off again. Easy with the Naafiri. The dogs to help tank up a little bit as KC started off. Dragon spawns at the same time.
Is in a much better position though and has the flash, so G2 trying to turn on him.
He's going to get poked out though. I mean, SkewMond, he gets zoned off. 6k is now at half HP. This is a very serious threat as Labrov tanking up yet again. Atakan doing some good damage. Caliste over the wall. He's firing away again. They need to work out. Flash away from Canna. It's a messy fight, but G2 are now isolated against the wall to get the Atakan down. That's what they're focusing on. KC want the objective. SkewMond over the wall. Can't get in. Atakan down. They pursue. They adapt, and KC hit it for the third time and secure.
G2 are TPing to mid though. Taps is on the way.
Being slowed down though because SkewMond got caught out. Flick back. Targamas found a good pick. Dragon's going to go down with it as well. Broken Blade running for his life. That TP would be good, but again, KC are fighting so much. Yike just wants to keep going forward. Hunsummer now nearby. Yike doesn't care. He'll keep threading in between this choke point, and G2 gets smited away from their own walls. KC, again, taking everything from the map.
KC are just playing bouncer. They just want to deny G2 access to the spot tier 2, and they managed to take it. Again, Targamas' flash coming in clutch to get the pick on SkewMond, which sets up KC. And G2 trying desperately to contest, but KC having so much control on the map makes it difficult to break the bunker they're setting up in River.
Almost a 6k gold lead. Like, look at these solo lanes. I mean, only one of them, obviously. Canna, almost a 3k gold lead on this Gwen, but Caliste is still maintaining his. Infinity Edge picked up for Hunsummer, but meanwhile, you've just got a third. Serelda's Grudge. Caliste just finished it. A full item advantage here at 24 minutes into the game, and those double Mountain Dragons being denied away from the Shen, from the Braum. That's got to feel good for KC.
KC in a very good spot. As long as they can play this game out and patient, they should be able to, again, set up vision control, play for G2 to try and contest them on some of these objectives, and look to just burn them out of the game slowly. Now, Baron is going to be up relatively shortly. KC do take it very quick with Canna and also with the amount of damage that Caliste has at the moment, but I still think it's more playing for these moments as G2 try to contest in towards River. You can see there, like, as they're over at Atakan, as they're trying to move in towards the tri-brush, it's just Targamas playing bouncer, like here, where if you end up getting too close to him, he can very quickly find the engage.
The blast cone usage was going to be cleared out. KC thinking about how they can lure G2 in to this Baron. But for now, they don't start it off. A ward over the back of the pit, scouting out. Lulling about for now. KC actually starting it. Reset came through. Look where Labrov went, Dagda.
Broken Blade has that ultimate now up and available, though. They're trying to play for TP. Targamas, though, on a ward, trying to use that Hex Flash to be that engage tool.
Hunsum's going to ulti. Targamas uses Locket. That's now down, but he has his Unbreakable Will. Over the wall, Canna's zoning out. SkewMond has his flash available, but they're all jumping over the wall. KC have pulled off the Baron. Hunsummer has the range. Dagda, you've talked about it over and over again. G2 trying to abuse that set advantage. Look at bot as well. Broken Blade getting his own turret. While Baron attempt number 2 is going to start off, but Yike's at half HP. KC are draining their health bars. It's a win for G2 to delay the game.
The game of chicken is won by G2. Broken Blade does not hit the button, and now Labrov.
Labrov.
Oh, spots the mouse. KC, you can see, play for Baron, draw G2 in, look for the pick. Doesn't happen, but always still thinking of it.
Well, he walks in this time. Labrov's got help. Vladi, he's going to be sought out. Labrov doesn't have flash to pull on that engage. SkewMond's passive, he has movement speed. He can run up to someone, but not going to do a thing. KC, we go back and we reset. 2 minutes till Dragon. Baron's still up.
But this is where for G2, like, you try and punish the fact that there are essentially an extra teleport on your top lane. you try and play for something on the opposite side of the map towards Broken Blade, get the TP from Canna, and then back off. Try and look then for your own TP, or for that then Stand United to be the way that you get into towards the fight. A minute and a half until Dragon, though, means that it's going to be a little bit difficult to try and set up that play. So instead, I think they're just going to end up using Broken Blade, push out a wave, reset in about 30 seconds time. He will then shift himself to the top side of the map. And then it's just KC putting themselves into the exact same position where it's, okay, we have to try and find these picks and find these ways to get into G2's face and close that distance. Otherwise, Broken Blade becomes another threat on a side lane.
Blade with Deadman's Blade as well. He's going to have a bit more sticking power now too. Baron? No, not started up. Maybe only lured. No wards in the back of pit. So right now, G2 relying on that blue ward from both mid, from both Hans Summer and Caps to refrain. Ulti onto Caliste, sad B. He doesn't really take much damage now though. He's got a tunneler. He's got a bit more health in his inventory, so annoying thing about this Ezreal.
Yeah, he'll be going for a Spear Shojin, so
true.
Should be it. And like once you get to that, it's just firing out crazy the amount of damage, but
yeah.
It isn't the best at taking down, say, Broken Blade as the tank, but
sure.
I don't think in this position again, it's like, as you can see, it's trying to just hit Caliste, so he just becomes negligible in these fights. Now 20 seconds, G2 setting up on river, or sorry, on mid lane, means they get poke to move into river, and again, just make it very tough. But Targamas having flash, again, is going to be crucial. He's been keeping this flash, or at least using this flash, at these dragons consistently, making sure he has it. Even look at his position now on the minimap, going for this flank, trying to spot out if he can get around them. No wards at the moment to see him, and the TP. This could be the engage that Targamas needs.
The ward placed. Targamas and Canna, you're exactly right to mention the cow. Uses the scrying op, spots it out. Broken Blade going to be targeted by Canna. There's some good poke out, shadow dash out, while G2 are going to start and at least feint the dragon. But KC are here as a 5-man unit. The bot push from Vladi as well. True shot barrage, Labrov blocks it. But Dragon now the contest.
Vladi on a ward doesn't realize it because he was just swept by Targamas, but there's the wall.
Canna's going to be on one as well. The wall comes out. Labrov flashes the stand again next to them. Canna jumps into the whole team though, but Labrov disengage won't be enough. He's going to drop down first. SkewMond wants to put them to sleep. The Lilting Lullaby is good as Caps already gets the shut down. The shove up is good, but again, even though Caps in the middle of the fight, Broken Blade is saving them and sending them good night in the backside. I'm watching Caliste. Caps flashes over the wall. KC might have found them all. He didn't die. On through the thick of it, the thin of it. Caliste just didn't die. The shoves have been great, and KC finally eviscerate.
It took everything from KC, but they found what they needed. Multiple angles of attack. The wall from Vladi keeping them in check, and Canna in a fantastic position again to set things up. Dragon secured. Baron next.
Saw the trace in that fight and thought, no way, G2 doing it again, right? But KC, the carries come up clutch yet again, just like yesterday. They've had to work so damn hard for this game too, though. With Dragon going their way, with Baron now as well. This gold lead, it's starting to feel insurmountable.
Yeah, now that you have Baron, it becomes very difficult for G2 to clear out the waves. That has kind of been the thing holding them back, but you'll see here, so you get the wall, you get one flank coming through here, one flank coming through here, like, and then you've got Canna coming down in the back. It's so difficult to try and escape away from everyone here. And as you say, Caliste, fantastic in this fight. Waits for him to go golden. Targamas does the flash Q, then headbutts Caps back into the fight, but Caliste then finds himself separated. Snipes Hansama, snipes down SkewMond, and then it's just chasing down Caps in the back.
I don't know how he hit those shots. Ezreal Q. It's a hone seeker, I think. Broken Blade's the last one to go down. Takes Targamas with him, but KC, that's a one fight, that's an ace. That's a potential for a 3-game series in their own arena. Would have been upsetting if they went home without taking a single game, if they couldn't push G2 to the limit. Labrov just going to block that one yet again here. As the Baron power play, thanks to Red Bull, we come back with 2K left, or rather 2 minutes left. And KC are encroaching G2's base.
Yeah, this is where it just gets really tough. Because as we said, like, you had good wave clear with Caps, with Hansama, but now that just becomes negligible thanks to that Baron. So really, KC looking to try and crack open the base. It'll be a very big disappointment if they don't manage it off this next minute and a half, but it looks like Caliste might just do it himself here.
He's doing so much damage to the turret. Look, KC, all 3 lanes right now. Siege, bot just fell down. Mid just fell down. Top is close to falling down. Inhibitor up next. They're going to try and find a turn. Needle work is out from Canna, just the zone. Good damage from Han Summer, but look at this. The whole base is melting. G2 finding an angle. They finally found one, though. Lilting otherwise only a one-man. Ulting from Labrov is enough, but G2, the health bars are burning low, and there's nothing they can do here as they walk out. It's already Yike with a reset onto Han Summer next. He's in no man's land, letting the dogs out again as a triple leading up to another. Yike has been given and delivered against his old team. A quadra, and once again the Hound pursuits out. Let him rip, boys. It's the ace stole from Caliste. You absolute mongrel. And I'm not talking about the dog. KC, take us to a game 3. But Caliste, you might deserve the last kill, but you do not take away Pentas. That's the life lesson.
Yike having the Penta against his old team stolen. But maybe he would have died, to be perfectly honest. But still, KC going to be very, very happy with the results of that one. Great control coming through in the early stages, finding that success that they needed, and then slowly but surely playing off that mid game.
KC deliver game 3, last game of Paris. Right after this.